Hey everyone, it's Friday, so it's time to deploy. I'm joined again, as always, by Charlotte and Matt, and a little bit of a different vibe here going on today. The office is occupied at the moment, so we're coming to you live from, I guess, my kitchen table. So there you go. Matt, well, how was your week? What'd you get up to?
The week was pretty good, actually. I have been doing all sorts of things this week. I've got a couple of blogs that I've drafted up, which will be out across the coming weeks. Inside Platform Engineering episode 4 went live just in time for Deployment Friday last week, but I've been doing some shorts and some other content around that as well. And I've been working on some content as well for Argo CD integration from Octopus Deploy. So just working with a few of the product folks on getting a video ready for how to use that and some of the steps that we support with Argo CD already today.
Very
So
nice.
yeah.
Yeah, very nice. Charlotte, how was your week?
It was good. It was busy, very busy as normal, but I feel like there's a few things that have really like come together this week. The Future of Platform Engineering survey is closed, so I've been looking at that data, which is really exciting. I love looking at fresh data and seeing where it can go. It's awesome. Um, and then I guess, yeah, focusing on the next CD research project. So writing up survey questions for that, which has been good, and also doing video stuff too. Just trying to, get the results out of for the AI Pulse report. So yeah, trying to focus on those things as well. Yeah, lots of videos.
Fantastic.
John,
Yeah,
if you
just a
were
reminder.
wondering what to get
Yeah.
Charlotte for her birthday, just get her a fresh data set and she'll be pretty excited by the sounds of it.
I was
So
just gonna say, I was gonna make a reference like
Everything.
I love the smell of data in the morning, or some kind of old reference like that. So
Oh, such a nerd. I love it.
yes, I know.
Love it.
Yeah.
I just love it. It's my favorite thing.
Anyways, awesome. Yeah. So lots of data going on, lots of research, lots of reporting, etc. Because we are doing this live, I'll just remind folks, you guys, if you have any questions at all or you have any comments, we're happy to feed them into the live stream here. This is something we're trying new. We're trying to do this a little bit more live, so I don't have as much editing to do after the fact. But there you go. So, anyways, let's go ahead and get started by focusing on some of the latest things here. Um, as you know, Matt made reference to, we've got our YouTube channel. Go to /Octopus Deploy on YouTube. You can find it there, and you can see we're live at the moment. We recently have signed up a few things. We'll get to those in a second. But Matt, there's your latest episode with Peter, autonomous and API first platforms, which we did talk about a little bit last week. If you're all curious, you can check out the videos that we have there. So make sure to, as the kids say, to like and subscribe. I recently did a video featuring the AI Pulse report. So this was a video that I did talking a little bit about what the AI Pulse report does, and obviously, Charlotte, this relates to the work that you're doing around this sort of thing.
Yeah, I love this video. It's actually really great. It kind of talks about the whole report in 3 minutes. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. So
Oh, thanks.
yeah, yeah. No, it's so good. When you did it, I was like, this is perfect. This is exactly what we need. 3 minutes is short. It's a long report, so 3 minutes is perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it explains all what it goes through. It's awesome.
Yeah, I tried to summarize it a little bit, how, some of the data that we're finding, just the highlights, but of course you can download the report now. How's the response been? We're what, a week in of the report being live, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, a bit over a week. Yeah.
Okay, and it's been picked up at a variety of online sites, and we're going to be talking about it in a lot of different ways with webinars, etc. But how's been the response so far, and how have you been managing your expectations around this? Because obviously you didn't know what you were going to get with an AI sort of report. Has it been popular? Has it been well received? Is there a lot of traction around it?
Yeah, I think that generally AI has a lot of traction in general, so it's been pretty good. It's been picked up by a few, uh, you know, um, you know, uh, online journalism papers, which has been awesome, and lots of feedback from, social posts, and then the downloads have been pretty good in a week. I think that in terms of downloading and people actually coming to the site has been really good. I'm pretty happy with it, and it's really exciting for me because I've seen this all like kind of for the first time from start to finish. So
Yep.
exciting.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
That's awesome. Yeah, so just to remind folks, I'll bring up the page here. It's actually part of our publications site, which I'll just switch over here. So if you go to /publications/AI Pulse report. You'll see it here. You can just register and download it today if you want. Or if you're at all inclined, you can go to /publications, and there you'll see a page that looks like this. Obviously, the AI Pulse report is listed at the top. We have other reports as well that you can check out. So these and others have been written artisanal caretaking sort of data sort of thing. We've got a lot of really cool publications there, so make sure to check those out. So let's go ahead and get into the links that we have for this week. So this is a blog post by Matt Casperson. It's this ongoing series called Octopus Easy Mode. Incidentally, Easy Mode has been integrated into the AI assistant, which we'll talk about in a video that will be coming up very soon. But this is around project tenant variables. So project tenant variables, there's two types of basically tenant variables. There's project tenants, and you also have the ability to work with other types of variables as well. But in the case of the AI assistant, when creating a project, you can use a prompt that looks like this. And so this prompt here allows you to essentially create a project called script app with library variable set and project tenant variables, etc. Creates a tenant variable called tenant namespace, and will generate a bunch of stuff. And then basically this will show up as project tenant variables here, which you can see, which are denoted by the different tenants. The nice thing about tenant variables, project variables, etc., is that you can give them the same name, but you can actually have different contexts within which they run. And so that's a really nice capability there because it's defined by scoping and different values there. So that's a really nice capability. And of course, if you're using the AI assistant, this is something you can certainly use going forward today. Awesome, possum. All right, moving right along, we've got obviously episode 1 of, I believe we talked about this earlier, Steve Fenton's Office Hours. Just to remind folks, we've got our continuous delivery office hour show, which is from Steve and Tony and Bob. They talk about a variety of things there. So if you want the blog post that talks about this, you can check it out on our blog, which is /blog. We have another easy mode one from Matt. This is on community step templates. So community step templates are obviously those capabilities that folks from the community have added to Octopus. So we have what's the number, Matt? Is it like 585? Are we past 600 yet of community step templates?
I think the last number I saw was high 500 still. So
okay,
yeah.
All right, so these are basically features that we don't ship out of the box with Octopus. Obviously, we ship a lot of features with Octopus, but if there's a feature that's missing, we include it here. And this is a way to utilize these within the context of the AI assistant. So there are some prerequisites. Obviously, you need an Octopus Cloud account, and you need the Chrome extension installed, which is the AI assistant itself. But this is basically the cookbook prompt that you will fire up inside the AI assistant, and we'll actually utilize the community step template, which is denoted here. And this is for creating a project that's utilizing this in the context of a deployment process. So that's another way in which you can utilize step templates in the context of the AI assistant. And this is basically, as Matt is rightly pointing out, easy mode in terms of Octopus.
And if you just happen to be catching this episode of Deploy on Friday and haven't caught some of the others, this is a blog series by Matt Casperson for Octopus Easy Mode. So if you go to our blog and just search for Octopus Easy Mode, you'll bring up all of Matt's current posts. And I know there are still some in the pipeline as well. So he's taking you through essentially going from zero in Octopus Deploy to how you can use the AI assistant to get up and quickly with the different features and functionality within Octopus. So yeah, really cool series to follow along with for sure.
Yep, that's all at /blog, so make sure to check that out. And Charlotte, this was one that you had mentioned earlier. This is one that got posted just recently. This is one by Robert, Hidden Gems in Octopus Deploy, resources you might have missed. I love blog posts like this because they always remind you of things that are, just to reiterate, hey, we've shipped this, we've shipped that, or did you realize that this is a thing? Charlotte, did you have any feedback on this, or Matt? About some of the things that are highlighted here. This is different than my list, but we can go through these together. But Robert mentions the Kubernetes agent as a first start, so we could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, my standout one, which I knew about but forgot about until I read this post, was at the very bottom there that you've got right now, was the Octopus API examples GitHub repository. So yes, we do have a GitHub repository if you're working with the API. Come here first because there's a bunch of stuff in that repo that probably does what you want to do or very close to what you want to do. And you can, take a script or one of the API examples and modify it for your use case. But yeah, there's a bunch of cool stuff in here that the team contribute to over time as they've got different use cases that they're working with internally, whether that's like within the solutions engineering team or some of our customer facing team might be helping customers with a use case, and they'll come and contribute it back to there as well. So yeah, that's probably my call out from this list.
Charlie, what would be yours? I know that some of this isn't obviously on the data side or the research side, but is there something in here that tickled your fancy or that you were curious about when you were reading this
Well,
blog post?
it's probably the APIs as well, only
Yeah.
because of what we spoke about in our group meeting this week. And so I was like interested to see that there are some similarities and things that GitHub can do that we do as well. And yeah, so I think that's what I was focused on after our meeting. Yeah, it's good. It's really good.
Nice. For me, obviously, for a variety of reasons, it's going to be the Terraform provider and Octoterra. Some people don't know about Octoterra. I'll just briefly mention what this stuff does. So, the Terraform provider utilizes Terraform, and Terraform is a product that comes from HashiCorp/IBM, depending on your definition. You can utilize an open source variety called OpenTofu. But what Terraform is, it's an aptly named product. It's basically the analogy I make is it's like the Genesis project from Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. The Genesis device is you shoot it at a dead moon and it creates all this life from lifelessness. Terraform acts in the same way. It's an aptly named product because it terraforms or converts or provisions infrastructure. And so the idea here is that you can do this very simply by writing what you want your infrastructure to look like in terms of its state in a text file. You have Terraform run against that, and then it provisions infrastructure based to reflect that state. And so it's kind of one of those do as I mean, not what maybe it's a do as I mean, not what I say sort of tools, similar with AI. And so we have a Terraform provider for this, and the Terraform provider is there so that you can provision Octopus in a way. So if you want to provision accounts, you want to provision environments, tenants, variables, whatever it may be, user accounts. Like sometimes people, they sign up for Octopus and they've got 500 accounts that they have to provision. Like, oh, how am I going to do this? I know, I'll script it. But then they realize that actually you can just target the Terraform provider in Octopus and run a HCL file that will just basically provision those accounts for you. So that's one way to do it. Octoterra is an interesting tool in itself. This is a product that lives, or a project that lives up on GitHub. But basically what this allows you to do is suck out the information of a space into Terraform files. So it's going the opposite direction. So you can basically point this at an existing instance of Octopus and it will create the HCL files that represent your instance. And this is a product we have called product/project called Octoterra. So that's something that you can use. And those ones were kind of cool in my book. Obviously the Kubernetes agent is another one as well. But yeah, these are the ones that I like a lot.
Yeah, nice. I like Octoterra is really cool because there's times when you're working with products or you know how to configure something in the user interface. This brings me back a lot to my Azure days where you'd be configuring something very bespoke down in a function app and you've got sort of no idea how to do it in Terraform, but you could go to the portal and say, show me the Terraform for this thing, which was really cool. So
yes,
it's awesome that we've got that as well.
The samples instance I always make reference to, this is at samples.octopus.app, and there you can go and let's just hit this now. It's a live instance, right? So you can go and log in and access this instance if you so wish. Let's see if I'm still logged in. Yes, I am. Great. And this allows you to explore a variety of different spaces we have. So these are all the spaces that we've created, and these are live instances, right? So these are we're utilizing infrastructure, we're utilizing Kubernetes, we're utilizing databases, to showcase how to do these things. And so by jumping to a different space here, for example, I can see various deployment patterns, like a blue-green deployment pattern, or I can jump over here. I'm just picking ones at random. If I want to get a sense of what it looks like to target Argo, for example, I can jump to this space here and see what that looks like. So in here, we have not only the separation by spaces, which are denoted by responsibility, but we also have different projects that show you different variations of what those spaces encompass. And so you can drill down into one of these things if you want. And again, this is completely open. You can take a look at it through a guest account, and you can take a look at the project process, the deployment process for this, and just get a sense of what this looks like, and then kind of kick the tires that way. So samples.octopus.app. This is a great resource. In fact, one of the first resources I think folks should hit when taking a look at Octopus for the first time. So I think that's a not so hidden gem, but it is something I like to remind folks about.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Great. Let's take a look at another resource here. Just going through my resources. Oh, Charlotte, you wrote an article for the New Stack called "This Simple Infrastructure Gap is Holding Back AI Productivity." What's this article all about?
So this article came out at the start of this week, and I wrote it kind of based off the findings that that are in the AI Pulse report. Essentially, the core message here is that we are adopting AI a lot broadly. We're slowly optimizing it, but there is, trends that show that automation is the key to scaling AI value. So that's what this is about. So it kind of goes through what AI can do, where it falls short, the CD practices that are actually really beneficial encompassed with AI, which actually, you know, um, obviously accelerate your deployment system. And it kind of just, emphasizes that automation and focusing on creating, or I guess building that underlying infrastructure is the key before you implement AI. Otherwise, it's going to be really difficult to do it after. So
Hmm.
focus on underlying automation infrastructure first, and then implementing AI where you want to, speed things up, or just, you can use it for testing, the code generation, everything like that. That's where AI is at the moment. That's where AI's value is, and that's where companies are excelling. Um, yeah, and they're actually generating returns from their AI investments. Sorry, yeah.
Hmm.
Awesome. Matt, did you have something?
No, no, not at all. I read this when it came out, and I thought it was a fantastic article. I mean, I had read the Pulse report as well, but it was nice to see it distilled in a different way as well. So well done.
Yeah, what's interesting about this in the report, obviously, we were tasked with doing a bunch of things, but this was well articulated in this graphic here, which is there's a gap between what AI is currently focusing on and what ultimately senior developers want. So, it's this sort of low bar, obviously complicated stuff, and it's awesome to see this stuff, but, generating code, writing tests, formatting code, snippets, etc. What senior developers typically want are things like setting up my environment, writing the tests themselves. Now, incidentally, there are some of these tools coming on board. So there are test generation tools now that are just being announced. I think Microsoft just announced one, for example. Security and compliance. I know that Anthropic had recently announced some stuff around this as well, and the shares of vendors like Cloudflare went down because of this. People seem to be reacting to this, but what senior developers really want is to focus on that high level stuff, the stuff that is really complicated, and of course, deployments is listed under there. No surprise. But this is an article you can check out up on the New Stack if you're so inclined, and this is from Charlotte. So well done, Charlotte.
Thank you. Yes, check it out, please. Be great.
Yes. We do have a webinar that's going to be associated with the Pulse Report. It hasn't been listed yet, but we will be doing it soon. Just for folks who are keeping score, we are doing a webinar around 2026.1, which is going to be shipping very, very soon. I've got a few folks from the product team. I've got obviously Jin, Ships, and Michelle who are going to be joining me talking about all kinds of things. We're going to be listing this as part of the release notes, obviously, when we ship, which will be very, very soon. And of course, this will be a fun discussion. If you're curious, what is a release party? If you're wondering what this is all about, it's basically a way of getting caught up on the latest and greatest innovations that have been shipped around Octopus. If you're all inclined, you can check out our roadmap, which is at roadmap.octopus.app. There you'll see a site that looks like this. You can see all the release stuff that we've included as part of this. Some of these things we'll talk about. So we'll talk about things like NPM feed support, which we talked about last week on the show. But there's other things as well that we're going to be featuring as part of the release party. So make sure to sign up for this. You can register for the event now. This is going to be on March 17th. And it's going to be quite early for us in Australia, but that's okay. We've made it convenient for the folks over in the US and in Europe. So if you join us at noon Pacific or 3 p.m. Eastern, it's about 7 o'clock, just after dinner for folks in the UK. You can join us there and learn everything you want to know about 2026.1, which is soon to be over here. So that's going to be a lot of fun doing that. And as I mentioned before, we're going to have some webinars coming up. Charlotte, you and I are going to be doing a webinar around the AI Pulse Report very soon. So that's going to be in March as well. And we're going to be listing that here very shortly.
Awesome.
Yep.
Yep. The release parties are always great to come along and watch, and you get insights from the folks who are there building the capabilities or the features that are released in that version. So they're the best people in the company to hear it from. So yeah.
Awesome. All right, let me get out the Hall of Mirrors here. Awesome. All right. So with that being said, it's now time for Support on Friday. All right, this is a segment of the show where we take a question from the advice channel, which is up on Slack, and we go ahead and try and answer it live. Most times, folks have beaten us to the punch. They've already answered the question. That's okay, it happens. So let me switch over here, and you see we have a question here that's been posed by Ross. Ross then posed the question, I wrote a C# script to iterate over all spaces and all projects and all runbooks within each project and dump everything into a nice HTML layout. Sounds like a cool little project there. In columns like the screenshot and this screenshot here. This is the screenshot that Ross is trying to do here. So he's basically generating a listing of everything that Ross cares about in terms of Octopus. And so there's something tricky about runbook URLs. Yes, there is. For a project, this expression turns into a usable URL viewing the project using the GUI. Now, you got to be careful about this, but so link self, and that's something we'll talk about, was API / whatever, and then this expression turns it into this, which works perfectly. However, for runbooks, the related expression, which is this, doesn't work quite well. The runbook self link is this and turns into this, which needs to be this. Basically, there's a lot of sort of Spider-Man meme looking around like which URL is it? Which URL? I'm just wondering why the / operations segment is needed for the UI, but it must be present or must be absent for the API. I guess just because that is how it's done is a reasonable answer. Ben jumps in. I know this very well. A lot of us who worked on the APIs know this as well. The fact that replacing API with app works is just coincident, not by design. That is important. The project resource also includes a link called web, which has the app hash URL in it. We are moving away from hypermedia links embedded in the resources. It appears that the runbook resource doesn't have the web link included. Thank you, says Ross. So here's how the sausage is made behind the scenes. So when you touch the API, when you interact with the API, typically, not always, but typically, it's going to be under WAC API and away you go. Now, when you do that, when you hit one of our APIs, let's see if I can do this randomly here. I'll hit this one. Actually, let me go to the samples app. So what I'm typing in here is our samples API. So this listing that you see here, what this is pretty printing going to help? Nah. Okay. So this is a list of all the endpoints that we have. Now, when you hit one of these endpoints, let me hit an endpoint here. Let's say spaces 105. So this is my space, and then I can hit my channel. So if I hit channels, so these are, not you, sorry, channels. These are my channels. And if I want to interact with, you'll notice that inside here, we have these hypermedia links in here. This is what Ross was referring to. So in every resource that we list, so this is a channel, this is a channel, this is a channel. These are called resources in our lexicon. And when you use the API, you're going to interact with these resources. And inside there, you're going to have these links. And these are hypermedia links that allow you to navigate to other resources. This was a style popularized probably about a decade or so ago, when you would include links and stuff. And we're slowly but surely going to be moving away. You'll notice that those things are referenced here as WAC API. And so that's what you're kind of seeing there. This is that sort of URL format for this structure that you see here. And so this is what a channel looks like underneath the covers. The reason why, in coming back to Ross's question here, the reason why it looks different in some cases with the UI is because we use different URLs, unfortunately. It's just the way in which we have to do things. So there's these back-end URLs that we use for the UI because we have specific reasons for using UI URLs. There are various things that we need to carry along for the ride in the URL, the API response. Yes, we are API first. So we use our API underneath the covers, but there are special backend APIs that we call as part of the URI. And that's why you see some differences there in terms of the API. So hopefully that provides some guidance. We do document this. It is in our docs, but There you go, Matt. What you gave me a as if that was interesting. Is that new? Is that something I haven't mentioned before?
Getting into the links in the resources wasn't something that I was sort of aware of. I didn't even know they existed, to be honest. I hadn't
Yeah.
had a use case for needing to go near them, and I just hadn't paid attention to them before. So yeah, that was my I think, was just the interest around sort of why they're there and some of the history. So
So you
yeah.
can see, like, this is like, if I went to a list of tenants, I have no tenants in this space here, but you can see, like, you can reference yourself.
Mm.
We also provide these URL parameters. So these are using the query string, and I can like a sliding window. I can go through, if I have, like, say, tons of tenants, I can quickly iterate through them using skip, take, etc. There are different endpoints as well. You can get like all, etc. You can do other types of queries like search against partial name. Is the tenant enabled or disabled? Show me those ones, etc. So these are query parameters that you can define as part of this. And you can also utilize things like this, like, take from 0 to max int. You know what I mean? So this is one way in which you can do this sort of thing. So we don't obviously call it this way in the UI, but this is something you can do in the API. And the reason why we do this is because we are API first, and we're trying to make it so that you can utilize this in any way or shape that you see fit. And again, another topic of conversation around APIs. But yeah, this is the sort of question that Ross was hinting at. A lot of the questions we see in the advice channel do center around this idea, like, hey, I'm trying to do X with the API or Y with the API,
Yeah.
and I can't get it working quite right. And it's because the API is always in a state of flux, so to speak. It's always being worked on, and that's what Ben was mentioning here, is that we have these hypermedia links that we're moving away from, but that's what that was the reference to. Cool.
Okay.
All right, I think I've talked long enough. I'll jump back to the Hall of Mirrors here. All right, cool. All right, well, there you go. That's our latest episode of Deploy on Friday. I'm just checking to see if there are any comments or questions. No comments or questions. Everyone is, happy to listen, so that's great. We're going to try and do this a little bit more structured. We're doing these live every Friday, so we would love for all of you to attend live. And if you have any questions or any comments or anything you'd like to see live, maybe Charlotte, we can get you to do a demo, or Matt, we can get you to answer a question or two. Charlotte's like, no, don't let me do a demo. You can show us how to use Jupyter Notebooks or code in Python or something like that. I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to that. So there you go. But if all of you want to participate, we're happy to have you submit a question or comment. So feel free to leverage the chat. We're broadcasting this everywhere we can, and this is the sort of new format we're going with. So there you go. Join us next time for Deploy on Friday Live. We'll do it next week, and we'll try and keep the same time and date and all that sort of stuff. There you go. Awesome.
Yeah.
Anything to wrap up before we close out the show?
No,
No,
I'm
I
pretty
don't
good.
covered
All right.
everything.
All right,
Yep.
cool. All right.
Happy Friday, everyone.
Well,
Thanks, John.
yeah, happy Friday, everyone. Matt, why don't you close us out? Happy deployments, etc.
That's right. Yeah. Happy deployments. Have a great weekend. And if you don't see us beforehand, we'll see you next Friday.
Take care, everyone.